quiet, please. Okay, people, it's March 31st, 2016. I got an eviction notice. 30 days. And this is what it's for. Put the landlord's property at significant risk. Jeopardize a lawful right or interest of another occupant or the landlord. And this is based mostly on the fact of what the city of Surrey, British Columbia, Canada, has been doing in terms of harassing me about this yard. Because my landlady, we and I spoke. And that's what she's concerned about, is a $20,000 fine. She's tired of the city harassing her over this yard. She says they basically want flat grass out in the front and that I need to go outside and start throwing everything in the garbage and then move out. Because she's old, her husband has got a bad heart, and she's tired and she doesn't want to deal with it. But she's also been getting harassing phone calls from the United States. These stalkers on YouTube that are stalking my channel probably had something to do with the Duncan clan people. Phoning her up from the United States. I guess telling her to kick me out. Who knows? I don't know. But somebody's been calling her from the States, complaining about the yard. Complaining about something. I explained to her what's been going on and why it's been going on and when it started. I also told her, and she's well aware of the YouTube videos, and so is her daughter and whatnot. They're choked that my 18-year-old had a hissy fit, right? And I said to my landlady, I said, well, if it makes it any better on principle, I'll have my 18-year-old daughter write a letter of an apology to her daughter, being that her daughter is the acting landlord, because my landlady now, because she's old and she's tired, she says she's handing the responsibility of this house to her daughter and the daughter's husband. Because she just wants to focus on her husband, my landlady, right? She wants to focus on the husband with the bad heart. Well, the daughter with her husband are going to take on the responsibility of the house. So in the meantime, my landlady doesn't want to fix anything. Told me that if it needs to be fixed, I should fix it while I live here. But that she's fed up, and I guess she feels threatened because the city is constantly harassing me. And she's getting complaints from the United States and whatever. She just can't. She doesn't want the headache. And I told her what I've been saying. I have nowhere to go. Nowhere to get there. Because she said, pack up, you got a month, go move into a basement suite, 2-bedroom basement suite. I said, that ain't happening. I'll give you 2 months. It's not that simple. I'm sick, first of all. I don't have the resources, I really don't. Don't have the energy. And I'm still on a time schedule. I told her that. I got 10 days to work in this yard. Which I'm going to do, people, because I don't know what else to do. Sook needs to make it in writing what it is that he wants done. If he wants all the rocks and the wood and the wishing well and everything out of this yard, then he needs to put it in writing and give it to me. And if I can't do it, I told my landlady, if you get stuck with the bill, I will pay the bill. if I don't pay the bill myself personally as another $20,000 debt load, then when I go and I take this stuff that happened to Uncle John through lawsuit, and if I win the lawsuit, I'll give back my landlady the money. That's what I told her. She shouldn't be held responsible in terms of... No, I shouldn't say she shouldn't be held responsible. She shouldn't be held hostage to a hypocritical city policy that is purposely going out of its way to stalk, harass, and attack my family and myself. Because they've got a larger agenda in terms of covering up what goes on in those temporary care wards, as they're being used as a sorting out bay to throw out the poorest of the poor out into the streets, and the ones with money either get, shuffled off to this care home or shuffled off to this convalescent ward, or some of them get lucky and get to go home, but not all of them, people. Well, some of them get to keep their assets. Well, a lot of them lose their assets to the public guardian trustee, or to people like the Duncan clan, John's sister, right? John lost all his assets. He lost everything. He lost everything, people. Because these people in the United States, why do they want to, first of all, stifle creativity? This yard is booming with creativity, but they want to stifle it. They want to smother it and snuff it out, right? They're going as far as harassing my landlord. Are you listening to me? My landlady said, she told me, she was from YouTube. They're watching the YouTube, they're calling in from the United States, telling her to evict me. They're probably calling the city. We already know that these same people have called MCFD on me when my son was here. And now they're stalking a YouTube user that I have a conversation with online, so that the story gets out there, in terms of just general information. I mean, it could be a non-active YouTube channel. That's not going to serve any purpose at this point in life, right? And they're coming in, whoever these people are, or person, but I'm sure it's more than one, and making rude comments to this individual. So they'll bend under pressure. Just like my landlady is bending under pressure from the city. So again, I'm sitting here waiting for my house to be tore apart in front of my eyes. As I sit back, I told my landlady, I'll just videotape it. I don't know what else to do. If it goes that far, because I'm incapable of doing something, right? It's not like Uncle John is here and we can make plans and, and we worked as a team to get to the next location. He abandoned me here, people. But it wasn't him. It was his extended family that abandoned the family here. John's immediate family. And there's consequences to that. And what you're watching now are those consequences. Well, the city of Surrey doesn't want to take any responsibility for the corruption that it has within its own political system, in terms of disenfranchising the poorest of the poor even more, flushing us out onto the streets, criminalizing us at all ages of the game, using the smallest as the small as a tool to manipulate the older ones, in terms of my teenagers, or using Andre as an excuse to come in here and act like these people care about Andre. Well, if they cared about Andre, you would think that they would want Andre to not lose his home. Right? Why would they want Andre to lose his home? I'm talking. Okay? Why are they doing what they're doing so consistently to try and remove Andre away from his home? Because they don't like the creativity and the strength that comes from me in terms of my own abilities. Something that they're incapable of doing. Right? They didn't found a nonprofit, never mind an international nonprofit. They didn't go out in the community and do things with the kids because there's nothing there on the videos on their channels to prove that they have. Right? They didn't plant no community gardens. They didn't do no park events. They don't do anything. All they do is want to cause trouble and have Andre lose his home. And the rest of my kids lose their home. So they can cover up the tracks of what they've done to Uncle John. Or they can capitalize off of what's happened to Uncle John. Right? In terms of they're an independent troll, that they're just shit disturbers that have no connection to Uncle John, right? That just are trying to capitalize off of the situation at hand because it makes them feel empowered within their own impotent life. Right? I told my landlady, I would love for my son or some other representative to come out on April 10th and have to walk through the yard with Sook. Because I'm not really up for it, people. Because we know it's harassment. I've taken you to other properties and I've shown you what's in their backyards. Or even in their front yards, for that matter. Right? And they're worse than mine. So anyway, I don't want to rant on this, and I don't want to harp on this. I'm sticking with the plan. Okay? I'm working on the yard for the next 7 days. I try and get out there almost every day. I do as much as I can. I've been putting in long hours. Right? Yesterday was 7 hours or whatever it was. Day before it was more hours and then more hours and more hours. But it's all coming together and it's starting to look really nice. So I think in light of this, because that's another thing I said to my landlady, what do you want me to do? Because people keep throwing out, we're getting complaints. Okay, well show me where these complaints are coming from. Right? You know, so I can face my accuser. More than one. Right? But of course that's never going to happen because that's not the kind of society we live in, because people don't like to take responsibility for their actions. Just like I told my landlady, as much as I would like for somebody else to be out there on April 10th, I know I'm the one that has to be out there and take responsibility. And that's what I'm doing. So I will definitely be out there on April 10th with the camera. Right? And we'll just see where it gets us. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to try and fit in one day, at least one day, right, to go around in the neighborhood and do a little survey. Do a little survey, because here's another thing. My landlady was complaining about the taxes on this property, saying that she pays more taxes on this property than she does on the property that she owns not too far away from here, in terms of being in Surrey. And I said, well, that's because they brought in the new city hall, just like they're bringing in pay parking everywhere you go. Ever since the new city hall moved in, all of a sudden the taxes are jumping up and pay parking is everywhere, as you're being stalked from these parking ticket guys with their little spy glasses in the parking lots up in tall buildings. Which, by the way, that parking ticket did get reversed. So I never had to pay for that, because I did send another email to the vice president of that company explaining again what happened. So he accepted the response that I gave him on that, and he reversed it. But it still doesn't remove the fact that these people are sitting up in buildings watching people driving up into parking lots and seeing where they go. And if they go in a direction that they don't think they should be going in, they get a ticket. Just like with the parking, pay parking everywhere you go. You know, it's not my fault. They're not collecting any more garbage from my house than they are either any other house in Surrey. I told her I have one garbage can, and even then it's not adequate garbage removal. It's only every 2 weeks, and they don't provide an annual spring cleanup, which they should, at least in part, of something versus nothing, so that the shit piles up in people's backyards, and then the city can just come along and capitalize off that and start terrorizing everybody with $10,000 or $20,000 threats to meet their demands. When these people that pay these taxes pay for a public service in terms of garbage removal. And if Delta has an annual spring cleanup and Ladner has an annual spring cleanup, Surrey should have one too. So that's going to be on my little survey. I'm going to ask the people whether they're renters or property owners. Do you think that this district should have an annual spring cleanup? Right? Are you finding that the city is harassing you because they want to justify the increase of their property taxes and overinflate the housing market? Right? So that the corruption that the BC Liberal government is already starting to investigate in terms of money laundering from China and places like that. My landlady said, oh, I got 3 good offers. Yeah, from Chinese people. You take that blood diamond money, because that's what it is. It's blood diamond money. These people are coming in with laundered money from somewhere, and for all we know, it could be from organ sales, harvesting these poor people in China, their organs that are locked up and criminalized for believing in a religion that doesn't necessarily coincide with the communist government of China. So they're harvesting tens of thousands, well, thousands and thousands. I don't know how much they're harvesting, but they're harvesting illegally human organs, and they're trafficking them through the black market, through underground syndicates. So how do we know that's not what's buying up these houses, paying cash with crooked freaking realtors that purport this stuff as, oh, well, it's just business as usual? Right? So anyway, we'll see what happens on the 10th. I'm still working in the yard. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. And I'm going to try and fit in a little survey before the 10th. At least get it started. See who liked Mr. Lace and see who didn't like Mr. Lace. See who thinks the people of Surrey should have the right to own chickens like other districts in British Columbia, Canada. Right? Versus being in a freaking FEMA camp. Since we got Americans moving in and want to take over everything with their big heavy hand and hide behind fake usernames while they do it. I went off and I bought a few things today. Not very much. Went to the dollar store. Not that I like to prop up overseas product, but there's some construction garbage bags. 2 pairs of rubber gloves. Some more garbage bags. I had to buy a new thing. Quiet, I'm almost done. I had to buy a thing. I'm really tired, people. I had to buy some nails for Jerry. And I bought some locks for the collection boxes, which I still have to find, because Jesse wants to get up on that pet program and says that he has several businesses, that he can put these in. So I've got some new locks, and I just got to find the boxes and set up a ledger. I couldn't get my car on the road because the pawn shop wiped me out. I still owe $162 on my mother's rings. So I'm not even going to be able to pay bills this month. So the card never even got on the road, people. Okay? And, you know, my life is, I don't know. I don't know what kind of world we live in. Where, again, people want to stifle creativity. People want to stifle progress. People want to stifle community wellness, collective benefit, you know, they just want to break you. I don't know why. I just don't know why. These people that are doing this from the United States, like they just remind me of these lonely bins that I come across every now and then, and it's all related to the nonprofit people. Because I never had this problem when I never had a nonprofit and I wasn't out there advocating, whether it's for homeless people or whether it's for landlords paying too much taxes. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that, you know, you stand up for something, and as soon as you stand up for something, there's always that mob there, right, that wants to tear it down, you know? So, again, why would people want Andre to lose his home, right? I can understand my landlady being tempted with a lot of money right now in terms of, well, if I sell it now, I can make $700,000. That's a lot of money. That's $750,000, right? You know, we can pay off a lot of bills, right? I can understand that, but is she doing it because she really needs it, or is she doing it to get rid of the problem in terms of the city not harassing her? Having me move out, coming in, whether the city does it or whether she does it, bulldozing everything over, scooping it up, throwing it into a big fucking dump truck, driving off. She said she was going to put some grass in the front. I said, well, you're going to need a big dump truck full of fucking dirt for that side of the yard. If there would have been grass there, do you honestly think I would have done all that? Obviously not. I took a bad situation and I applied creativity to it, and now that it's all coming together, all of a sudden, people just want to tear it apart and destroy it. So she covers it up with a bunch of dirt, throw in some grass seed. Well, the cats, just neighborhood cats, because I'll be gone by then, are digging around, so she'll have a little patch of grass here, a little patch of grass there, and then she'll sell the house for $750,000. And some Chinese people will move in. Right? And they won't mind the crossover of those things that are spreading out like mad throughout this guy's yard. Over there, all along the fence, creeping into my yard, right? It won't matter because it's all about money. Everything's money. They don't care if they're harvesting people's organs to get that money, selling them on the black market. Don't be surprised, right? I wouldn't be surprised. That's what's buying up these houses. Other people's lives that got destroyed so somebody can walk around and feel good about themselves. Like these trolls, you know, trying to destroy something here so they can feel good about themselves. Anyway, there's nothing I can do other than get up tomorrow morning and get back out there and just continue working until the 10th. And that's what I'm going to do, people. I paid my rent. And I'll deal with it then. I'll ask my 18-year-old to, write a letter of apology to my landlady's daughter based on the fact that she is, you know, a landlady. And you should show respect. Look at this. Do you see that? Like it's non-stop. This happened when I was gone. This person here is the one that's calling my landlord.